With all the new anime airing in the fall 2020 anime season, you may have wondered, is Fire Force still going to be on the review chopping block? Of course, Fire Force is amazing, and even if not everyone agrees with me with how much I praise this series, I will always review this show as long as it airs. And this episode started off a new arc that I have been excited for, because when you get the whole last week with Viktor pretty much going to get killed, told to bring in Shinra, you know we're going to be in for a pretty insane arc, and honestly from the new opening, which is beautiful, it's visually striking, the song is catchy. What is it with the fall opening songs this season? Every single anime I've been checking out have had killer openings, and goddamn Fire Force did not disappoint. But you introduce a character who may be more infuriating than anyone we've seen to date, and I hope he sticks around. Not only from the visual way that his fire ability works with this smoke that engulfs the room, he can use it in such cruel ways, to the point that he can make the smoke turn into a solid. So as you're looking around not knowing where he is, he's punching you, and then he reaches into the smoke and a blade comes and he slits your throat. This Reaper character is insane. He makes children call him Uncle Reaper. And the only way that they'll go home is in a coffin. This dude is twisted, he is scummy, he deserves a painful death for sure. He talks about how he enjoys bullying the weak, and he wishes for all of his opponents to be children when he takes them on. It's like, this dude, he needs Chris Hansen. This dude is an absolute monster, disgusting scumbag. But that type of character leads to some really interesting combat and territory for the story. And I'm going to be very interested how long he sticks around, because right now, with the battle that we saw towards the end of the episode with Shinra and him, I don't see how Shinra's getting out of this. This dude can literally use this smoke to sense everything, even attacks he's never seen. How do you combat that? And supposedly, he's on par with some of the strongest characters we've met, and while he may not fight in the traditional sense, he is the maddest pyrotechnic, and I think that's going to be insane to watch. I think the thing that kind of was the most intriguing aspect walking into this episode for me was how Viktor was going to deal with the aftermath of his little meeting, because he's always been kind of playing both sides, but now what would he do? And I actually like the idea of him dropping the information saying, hey, I'm a double agent, this is how it was going, but I wasn't expecting for everyone to so casually be like, yeah, we already knew that. That caught me off guard and had a grin on my face and made me laugh. Some people may be disappointed with that while there wasn't a lot of drama, but it kind of does make sense. It's just, I feel like the show never put a huge emphasis on their opinion on Viktor, so it's easy to assume they didn't feel that way. But when you really do look at the grand picture, how did they not observe that? Besides, of course, the sister who was so shocked and then kind of progressively got more and more shocked to the point that people had to reel her back in. It was nice to have that moment because you really don't know how to respond, even though you knew the information. What do? They want Shinra, and if you bring Shinra in, it's a good way to investigate the company that you want to investigate. So it does kind of feel like the enemy of my enemy is my friend right here, but if you send Shinra in, you're not going to get him back out. And even though they all agreed to investigate, I feel like things are going to go very, very bad. Maybe before the battle with Shinra and Reaper's over, maybe they'll come crashing in or something, they've kind of snuck in. I think maybe that's a possibility for sure. But it does lend itself to really not know what to feel about Viktor once again, who's always been a very mysterious character alongside Joker. But I think most of us can agree over Season 2, he's really grown into a role that you'll want to respect and admire. And then in this episode, he says that he'll do whatever it takes, even selling out and throwing Company A under the bus if it means getting to the truth. Though there are also moments where he says, I might have to abandon you, Joker, because these people are pretty nice. I kind of feel like he's the type of character who's fighting his own self in his head there, where the true version of him wants the truth no matter the cause, but because he spent so long with this company, he's actually starting to maybe have some feelings of companionship with them, and I think he's kind of confused about that, but just kind of rolling with whatever happens, and if somehow Shinra breaks through, maybe he'll fully admit to his feelings, I don't know, but it's nice to see because you can tell there is this worry and concern for Shinra, while also the voice inside his head saying he'll toss Shinra in front of a train, if that means getting to the truth. There's just a lot of conflicting feelings with the characters right now, and when you can get Captain Burns to make me feel like he might actually be a decent guy, and you have Joker working with our boy, I don't know, season is just messing with emotions and playing with what you think you know about the character relationships, and honestly, who knows what's going to happen next week and the week after, because that's just how this series is playing right now. I think in terms of seeing the kid who was turned into an infernal but then actually survived, and then seeing him have to go up against such an evil scumbag, you just feel bad for the kid, especially considering this evil scumbag is just the voice inside his head after everything that happened in season 1. To bring back an element that could have easily been disposable just once again shows that this is an author who did have a plan with his story, and why I keep saying I think Fire Force is his best work to date, because even though it definitely had some of the roughest starts out of his works, I think it has some of the best middle and endgame content I've seen so far. It just feels like just watching someone who's so scummy and just enjoys the thrill of the kill. It's infuriating, and the fact that they actually put him up against a kid, and if it wasn't for these people reeling him in, he would have killed that kid with a smile on his face, and literally to him, everyone's just a maggot, and he's grabbing doctors by the throat. He's literally not listening to them when they say, okay, we have enough information on Shinra's abilities, let's reel back in. He's like, nah, I'm gonna kill this kid. I'm like, Fire Force really did turn into something remarkable, where it does have the insanity that's always been there since day 1, but it really is playing into those darker themes, which is why I think Season 2 has been so great, because while it still has the charm of Season 1 and the simple interactions, which are a staple of this author's work, I still feel like the darker themes are put more of the focus in terms of the viewer's focal point, which means the story of just randomly, spontaneously combusting is first and foremost, rather than a lot of those simple moments that honestly got repetitive in Season 1 but then picked up by the end of it. I think Season 2 is doing a great job by introducing even more insanity and just not knowing what to do, while you feel like you kind of got a grasp on what's happening, you can deal with the obstacle, and then they throw another evil obstacle, and it's like, what do you do? I don't know. Overall, I thought this was a great, thrilling, disturbing episode, and I think Fire Force is going to have a banger for a second quarter for its Season 2, because I think this is going to go with a bang, and hopefully it ends on a satisfying note, as I know a lot of people are saying by the time Season 2 wraps up, the manga is going to be more or less caught up to it, as far as I know, so maybe Season 3 when the manga's finished or something, I don't know. I think if I was to predict how people are going to take to this episode, because usually Fire Force episodes for me, back when I was reviewing it in Season 1, I feel like I always had a mixture of people loving or completely hating it, but now that people are watching Season 2, I feel like really only the people who enjoyed Season 1 are watching it. But there is still some uncertainty sometimes when I see some of these reveals, and I'm wondering, I think, in the most, the Viktor reveal, how people are going to feel about that with them already knowing it, but really, to me, never having signs beforehand. I actually personally like it and kind of introduces that simplistic charm that the series is really good at, while also progressing it in a pretty easy way so we don't have to have mindless drama and things like that. I know people are going to love and hate this new villain of a character, this Reaper guy who tells little kids that they're going to be 6 feet under, because having that is just badass and frightening and just horrifying. The action that he brings is badass, but everything about him is just disturbing. But Viktor's reveal I'm actually really curious about, and I don't really read outside of my comment section, so whatever you're feeling about Viktor especially, I would really like to know, because goddamn, this show is doing some interesting things with what I assume it can do, and it's always throwing me for a loop. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What do you think of the new character, and where do you think it might go next week? If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like to show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.